We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Oh, it's live, pal.
This is Take the State Roberts.
This is KDB, the $1 million man.
Hey, this is Bob Backlund. Hey, everyone, this is Rick Steiny.
This is the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest WWE Intercontinental Champion of all time.
This is your wrestling show, Ottawa.
Heck, they could use you guys over in WWE.
You're listening to the greatest wrestling show in the whole wide world.
This is Wrestling with Ideas. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the CKDJ studio here at 107.9 CKDJ FM. I am the man with no excuses here on Wrestling with Ideas. Normally, Scully would say a little something, 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 and then he'd say, and the man with no excuses, and this week I was going to say something. It's time, once again, to hop aboard the Skuce train. Little homage to The Godfather. But, so I want to talk about something on Raw with you guys. I don't know if you guys watched Monday Night Raw this week, but there was a part of Raw, I think it was the second or third segment, and we had Finn Balor, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, and they were all in the ring with the one and the only Vince McMahon, pal. And Vince was in the ring, and they were doing a little segment. And I couldn't help but notice Vince's choice of words for what was happening during this segment. They were all bickering who should get Braun Strowman's Universal title shot because Braun Strowman doesn't have it anymore. So, eventually, at the end of Raw, we found out that Finn Balor will be challenging Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble for the Universal title, but that's not what I found most interesting about this segment, was that while all these large, muscly men were in the ring, the owner of the company, Vince McMahon, who was also in the ring, just sat there, and he had a microphone, so it was live, pal. It was live, pal. Look at all the beef in the ring. Look at all that beef. Drew McIntyre. Beef. So, I'm a little curious here. Scully, I don't know if you're ready to go, but if you know Cultaholic's YouTube page, would you say that Vince McMahon likes big, sweaty men?
I would say that, John. How's it going, guys?
Oh, just we're about to sing a little song here, me and the fans, a little Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. We got a nice show for you guys this week. Then we also want to talk about something that happened on SmackDown. In the opening segment, we saw New Day and Heavy Machinery. I believe they were comparing pre-workout rituals or meals or something, and we had Heavy Machinery blending pancakes and creatine powder and I don't know what. There was a can of tuna fish involved. They just scooped it all in that blender and called it a pre-workout. And, well, Otis Dozovich was trying to offer it to New Day, and New Day wasn't having any of it. And who should walk by but the man Becky Lynch, who should stumble across Heavy Machinery with their protein shake. And, well, long story short, she took a big drink of that shake, set it down, and said it was weak. You know, I think it was Mick Foley who once conned the phrase testicular fortitude.
Was it Mick Foley?
I think it was Mick Foley who started walking around talking about testicular fortitude. But for I guess we'll call them Stephanie McMahon. She calls them lady balls. But Becky Lynch had some testicular fortitude this week on SmackDown Live. Not only did she drink that shake, but she also had a little confrontation with Asuka.
She did. Now, I am not as familiar as what happened with Friday Night SmackDown this week. Tuesday.
There we go.
Tuesday. Sorry, guys, I'm a little bit...
He's a disoriented kid, right, but that's okay, because he's the music man, Colin Scully.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so today on the show, if you guys haven't seen it on Twitter recently, we're going to be talking to... If you haven't seen the Twitter, we have 3 interviews lined up this week. The first we're going to be doing... I haven't really formally announced it. I kind of just included it in this week's interviews album on Twitter and Facebook. We're going to be talking to the owner of the International Wrestling Syndicate, PCP, Crazy Effin' Manny. Now, in just a second, I will be calling him just to make sure that everything works. But John.
Yes.
NXT UK recently had...
one heck of a takeover. That's what they recently had.
They definitely did. Now, why don't you go through sort of what was your favorite match on the entire card?
Oh, it's quite obvious. Well, I think it was everybody's favorite match. It was the championship match where Pete Dunne defended against Joe Coffey, and the whole time it was a very back and forth match for some, and we're not used to seeing that with somebody of Pete Dunne's caliber. But Pete Dunne, he went every punch he gave, he took 2, but Joe Coffey couldn't pin him 1, 2, 3. But it seems that we've got a new challenger, perhaps, as after the celebration of Pete Dunne, he's holding on to his title in the ring. He's ecstatic. He barely scraped away with his title. Who should come walking down but Water? I'm sorry, not Water. That's just all the memes that's been going around. But Walter. Walter. You know, the man who... He'll chop you. He'll chop you right there, and you'll have a big old bruise on your chest.
Yeah, man. I'm just waiting for Manny to message me back. But yeah, so Walter in NXT UK.
Yes.
Now, is this something that we're going to see, like, are they going to go straight to perhaps putting him in a feud with Pete Dunne, do you think, or is it going to be a little too early?
The way they debuted him makes me think that. Just because he came out at the end of the match, I also understand that if he doesn't get an immediate title shot right away, it's because they want to break him in to the NXT style, I should say.
Definitely, yeah.
But also, why not? Walter's this big, bad dude. He's, as Vince was saying on Raw, he's beefy. Why not? You know, because Pete Dunne, he's held on to it for over 600 days now. I'm pretty sure he's ready to take on all challengers, even though Joe Coffey gave him a hell of a run for his money.
Yeah, that's very true. Now, I am of the opinion, actually, that it might be a little too early. I'd like to see him in maybe a match with maybe a Joe Coffey or something like that.
A rematch with Joe Coffey, because they had one heck of a match. Or you know who I think they should give a title shot to pretty soon? Is Jordan Devlin.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to say the shenanigans, because he really put the hurt on Travis Banks, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he really put the hurt on Travis Banks for the match, and, well, surprise, surprise, Johnny Saint had an answer for the shenaniganry, and sure enough, we were treated to the return. No, not the return. If you return to NXT on the main roster, but you were never in NXT UK, does it still count as an NXT return?
Not really.
Okay, well, the debut of Finn Balor. We had Finn Balor versus Jordan Devlin on this pay-per-view. It was fantastic. The crowd was into it. I was into it. I was in my seat at home. What did you think about Finn Balor coming out to be the surprise opponent?
I mean, it works to have trainer versus trainee. The only problem that I have with this is why, if you want to advance Finn Balor, if you want to advance Jordan Devlin as a top heel, why do you have Finn Balor winning?
Well, it's because he's Finn Balor, and he's got a Universal title shot. Do you think he'd have a Universal title shot right now?
Finn Balor?
Yeah, Finn Balor, because he's...
No. Well, I mean, other than...
If he lost at NXT UK and then he had to face Brock Lesnar?
No. It would be Drew McIntyre or something.
Exactly.
Now, I am about to place the call to Crazy Manny, PCP. I can't remember the specific order of what is...
The head honcho.
Yeah, the head honcho of the IWS. So let's see if this works here.
Let's see.
Of course. This is why we need producers. I guess I can talk about that. I guess I can mention that now. If there's anybody out there, whether it's in the CKDJ newsroom, whether it's in the Air newsroom, whether it's somebody listening who doesn't even go to Algonquin as part of the radio program.
If
you like wrestling and you know how to do board hopping, please give us a shout.
I could think of a couple people who I hope are listening to this show right now that wouldn't mind coming in. And, of course, there's always an extra microphone here on Wrestling with Ideas. So you would just be board hopping. If you got 2 cents to contribute, we'll take 4, pal.
Definitely.
So how's that phone coming?
Phone is working? I think. While we're just waiting here, Dave Mastiff versus
Dave
Mastiff versus Eddie Dennis wasn't exactly the best.
It wasn't exactly the best, but I don't understand. They're both different kinds of big men. Dave Mastiff's a big man. He's big around. And Eddie Dennis, he's big, tall. So you'd think it'd be a good clash of the Titans, but it really wasn't. It was a really mixed match. Like it's almost as if you had Earthquake versus the Great Khali.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good in your head, not so good in front of you.
No, definitely not. Now, of course, there was a change in the NXT UK Women's Championship as well. Toni Storm defeating Rhea Ripley. What did you think of that match?
I thought that Toni Storm was going to take it from the very beginning. Ever since winning the Mae Young... Yeah, she won the Mae Young tournament, and she won her match at Evolution anyways, and I thought she was going to win it ever since. I know Rhea Ripley was kind of the inaugural... Okay.
Hi, Manny, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I hear you guys perfectly.
Awesome. So, we were going through a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're finally on the air. We're live on air right now. Now... PCP, Crazy F, and Manny, you are the owner of the IWS, and you have a couple of big shows coming up in the coming months. One of them not actually that too far away on the 26th of January. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about that show?
Well, January 26th is a pretty special show for Quebec wrestling fans. In Quebec, you have two major wrestling federations that are making an impact. You have IWS, who's been around for 20 years and has been at the top of the scene for 20 years. And in Quebec City, we're based in Montreal, and in Quebec City, you have MSPW, North Shore Pro Wrestling, which has been running in Quebec City for, I believe, 6 or 7 years right now. They were originally CCW, which became EWR, which ended being NSPW. NSPW is really well known in Quebec City and all the suburbs north of Quebec, all the small cities, as well as they do a lot of work with UCW and other federations in the Maritimes. IWS, everybody knows IWS. IWS is known worldwide. For the longest time, people have always wondered what would happen if these two federations would collide. So January 26th, for the first time ever, which is something that's really hard to pull off in the province of Quebec with wrestling federations, because most promotions don't get along and don't want to work together. For the first time ever, there will be IWS versus NSPW live at Bar Unity, 7 p.m. Tickets are available at iws.ticketleague.com. And it's going to be a pretty special show because a lot of the guys in North Shore Pro Wrestling can't wrestle anywhere else in Quebec, and they'll finally get a chance to take on some of the big names from IWS. So it's going to be a fun night. It's going to definitely be matchups that you'll probably never see again. And, we're looking forward to it. A lot of bad blood between both promotions, sure, but in the end, the fans win, the fans get the benefits. So we're looking forward to it. It should be a good night.
Definitely. Now, going through a couple of the matches that are listed here, you've got Matt Angel making, I believe, has he wrestled for for IWS before, Matt Angel?
Oh, yeah, Matt Angel is a former IWS Canadian champion. He's wrestled for us for the last 3 years. He originally left when he signed an exclusive contract with North Shore Pro Wrestling. So he left and he returned by attacking us at one of our shows with a few other members of North Shore Pro Wrestling. Matt Angel actually wrestled Pete Dunne in the IWS. He wrestled RVD and Frank Milano in the IWS. He's had countless matches in IWS, and it should be pretty interesting because that night he is taking on, if I believe, I'm just trying to remember, he will be facing Bucks Belmar for the IWS World Title, so it's definitely going to be a special match. He's coming in, he's getting a title shot, so you know he's going to give it his all.
For sure. Now, talking a little bit more about some of the other matches on the card, you mentioned especially that some of the fans of IWS may not necessarily have seen NSPW. Who are some of the other superstars that are going to be making their return or debut, depending on who they are, to the Bar Unity?
Yeah, well, I mean, Eli Everfly, who's been a regular with IWS now for the last year, is coming back to represent Team IWS. He's going to be taking on Marco Estrada, who is the NSPW World Champion, who is a very, very well-known wrestler in the Quebec and the Maritimes. It's going to be a great matchup because Marco Estrada, even though he's small, he's extremely, extremely muscular and extremely talented. And then you have Eli Everfly, who's just a human highlight reel. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. Also, Kevin Blanchard is going to be taking on Travis Toxic, which is always an amazing match. The Tarmac, the team, will be taking on Ivan and can't remember his other name. Sullivan, the Sullivan brothers, kicking and stomping. Sorry about that. And it's going to be another grudge match. I mean, all these guys have worked together over the years, but the pairings that night and the fact that both are representing two companies that claim to be the best just make the card super, super awesome. I mean, it is going to be a hell of a show. And honestly, both companies have been killing it in not just Quebec, but Canada. Every single show that IWS has done and NSPW has done has sold out in the last year. And, I mean, we're really, really, really looking forward to it. We find it's a real big treat for the wrestling fans. We are shooting it for RDS2, for our TV show on RDS2. So it'll give Wrestling in Quebec a nice push once again. And like I said, the thing that's most impressive about this show, especially in the Quebec wrestling scene, is most promotions don't get along. Everybody thinks they're number one. There's always egos involved. It's cool to see that IWS and NSPW are comfortable in who they are and comfortable enough in their standings in the province to make this event happen. So I'm really, really happy about it.
Very true. Now, we do have to cut things a bit short here. We will talk to you next week or potentially closer to March 3rd, but why don't you give the fans a little teaser for March 3rd? There's a rather...
March 23rd.
March 23rd, my bad, sorry. There's a rather famous wrestler that's going to be coming to Montreal for a match against Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yes, that's right. Yoshihiro Tajiri, the ECW and WWE legend, the Japanese buzzsaw, is going to be making his IWS debut on Saturday, March 23rd versus Speedball Mike Bailey at the IWS 20-year anniversary show. Uneffed Sanction. Uneffed Sanction is our flagship show. It is our biggest event of the year. It is probably the biggest independent wrestling event in Canada. And it's being held at the Telus Theater, which is the biggest show venue in probably the country before you get to arenas. It's formerly known as the Metropolis in Montreal. It's the same venue where we had Rey Mysterio Jr. a few years back. This show is going to be off the charts. We're about to schedule a ticket release for next Friday, and hopefully I'll get to speak to you guys before that, because we're expecting the show to sell out in 1 or 2 days. March 23rd is the one show that if you're from anywhere in Canada and you want to travel to see a wrestling show, or anywhere from the East Coast of the United States, this is the show you got to come to. It's going to be unreal. We have never had an uneffed sanction that did sell out, and we have never had an uneffed sanction that let the fans down. It's our biggest event. It's probably the most infamous indie wrestling event in North America. So we're really excited, and this one is our 20-year anniversary. So it's something we're really looking forward to.
For sure. Thank you so much for calling into the show, Manny, and we will definitely get things coordinated to talk to you closer to the 23rd.
Yeah, because we have some big announcements that we haven't even released yet.
For sure. All right, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. Bye.
No problem. Bye. All right, we do have to cut to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to both Kahuna Khan as well as Holden Albright. You're listening to Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9.
Hey, this is Bob Backlund. You're looking at Wrestling with Ideas.
Welcome back inside CKDJ Studios right here for Wrestling with Ideas on CKDJ 107.9. Of course, I'm the man they call the Music Man, Colin Scully. Alongside me, the man with no excuses, Jonathan Skuce. And on the line as we speak, I believe, we've got Big Kahuna Khan. How's it going, man?
We are here. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. How's life been treating you these past couple of weeks?
Been going pretty well, man. There's a lot of things to look forward to, definitely in 2019.
All right, why don't you start off by telling us a couple of the bigger things that you're expecting this year?
So, we have a couple good matches going up. We do have Mayhem on Mills going on January the 27th. It's going to be Fabulous Fitness, me and the coach Kiki Roberts, versus Leva Bates and Effie. That will be a outlandish match, so to speak. And then right after, well, not right after, but pretty soon, we do have Love is a Battlefield with Fest Wrestling coming up. It is a tournament between a lot of really great tag teams. Really looking forward to that one for sure. February 27th. That is in Gainesville, Florida.
Very true. Now, Fest Wrestling, we just did an interview last week that I'm still trying to salvage. The audio got messed up with the Gym Nasty Boys. Are you expecting to face them at the Fest Wrestling tournament coming up?
Hopefully so, man. That's one of those matches that everyone has been talking about. I guarantee I get DMs, I get phone calls about it. I've been told about it since I started in the business. It's definitely a match that people want. So if it happens, man. That would be pretty awesome.
All right, so you talked to us for a little bit here about the Nasty Boys. I was wondering if you could talk to me for a little bit about ECW legend Blue Meanie.
The Blue Meanie. So that is my daddy. He pretty much. I pretty much do the same thing he does. The whole blue hair thing, the makeup sometimes, things like that. I do the crazy dancing. I'm a pretty outlandish person. We saw each other at WrestleCade, and we did this funny photo shoot, which is pretty cool to do. That is on the, I believe, my Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, at Big Kahuna Khan. And it was definitely a fun time for sure. We got to mix it up at WrestleCade as well in the Royal or the Battle Royal, and that was actually pretty fun, man. It was an awesome time. He's such a cool guy.
All right, and I saw one of your. I'm a little new to the whole Kahuna Khan thing, but I saw one of your matches, I believe it was this summer on MLW, and while I was doing a little bit of research today, I found out that the man that you came to a no contest with in that match is indeed your tag team partner. Would you mind telling us what the name of this tag team is?
Yes, so that was the fabulous Coach Kiki Roberts. We are Fabulous Fitness, so we are a tag team. That pretty much has a very weird dynamic. Essentially, I am trying to become a cruiserweight, and he is my coach trying to get me to that goal. So we've been doing pretty cool stuff thus far, and a lot of great things going on in 2019 for sure.
Now, before I pass things back to my co-host here, I saw on your Instagram, at Kahuna Khan, a rather strange photo of you, your tag team partner, and a Twinkie. My question for you is, Twinkies? Why not moon pies or ding dongs?
Hey, I'm totally cool with that, man. Ding dongs, that was the second choice. But Twinkies are the love, the love in my heart. Anything that's Hostess related, to be honest with you, but Twinkies definitely do the trick. Actually, my favorite one, everyone kept asking me, what is the chocolate peanut butter one. So if anyone ever wants to go to the shows and get me a Twinkie, definitely the chocolate peanut butter ones for sure.
Very true. Now, because of the technical difficulties that we were encountering earlier on in the show, we do have to cut things short and end the interview off now. Thank you, Kahuna Khan. We'll try and talk to you a little bit later, perhaps later on in February or something like that, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So next on the line, I believe we've got Holden Albright. Hi, you're live on Wrestling with Ideas. Is this is Holden, eh?
Yes, it is.
How's it going, man? Can you still hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So I just had the wrong phone slider up there. So what does 2019 have in store for Holden Albright?
I literally have no idea. Everything good is happening right now, so anything can happen by December 31st.
Very true. Now, is there a specific match that you're looking most forward to, perhaps in the coming, let's say, between now and June?
Now in June, there's a bunch of upcoming matches that I haven't even been told about and it's been rumored about, but I'm down for everything. Hardcore, any stipulations. I'm just ready to die and willing to kill.
So I was looking at your profile earlier today while I was brushing up for this, for you gracing us with this interview, and my source tells me you're from Brampton, Ontario. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I was born in North York, but raised in Brampton, but I just say Toronto because I've barely spent any time in Brampton unless it's to sleep.
So, being from Brampton, Ontario, being raised in Brampton, Ontario, what Canadian wrestlers did you look up to at all during your career, so on and so forth?
Well, my favorite wrestlers in general are Stone Cold. I even have a tattoo, but I didn't realize until recently how much Chris Jericho was a constant in my life. And legitimately, I was talking to a few buddies of mine, and I'm like, I don't think I appreciated Jericho until early last year, and now I'm just like, I think Jericho's my second favorite wrestler right behind Stone Cold.
Chris Jericho is my all-time favorite, but you know what? It is the gift of Jericho, and it's the gift that keeps on giving, man.
Drink it in.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I want you to talk to me a little bit about something that I saw on your Twitter page called Buck Wild 2.
Ooh, yeah, that's this coming Sunday. Me and my tag team partner, TK, known as the Savage Society, are taking on Gregory Iron, and he picked Ricky Shane Page to be his tag partner. I don't know if you know this, but if you go to Indie Wrestling TV, formerly Powerbomb TV, you can find Ricky and Gregory Iron had a crazy match where I swear Gregory Iron lost half of his blood from his body because they had a dog collar match. So maybe picking that as your partner, not the brightest idea, but one of the goals I have coming up is to be in Tournament of Death, and RSP happens to be a winner of that tournament. So I'm up for it.
Now, you said earlier when we first started the show that you're just going to go out there and kill yourself, and now you're talking about entering something called a Tournament of Death. Could you please elaborate a little bit on this? I'm worried for your health right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are worried about my health. See, I'm a bigger guy, and I realize I do some stand-up on the side, but I've realized you don't realize how unhealthy you might be when your doctor's surprised that you don't have, diabetes or anything just because you're a fatter guy. So I've been lucky on that regard, but now in wrestling, I just want to entertain myself and doing crazy stuff. I was supposed to wrestle Jimmy Havoc because PCO pulled out, and then he had a visa issue. So whenever Havoc is done with Hacker and Smash Wrestling, I'm his next challenger, and I'll just put it out there.
All right. Now, you were talking about some entertaining stuff right when I asked you about, but while I get the words out of my mouth here, I noticed something about a wolf mask. You have is there any symbolism towards this wolf mask? And after you explain, have you seen the movie Teen Wolf, and what are your thoughts on that movie, if you have seen it?
I've seen the movie. I have no real thoughts on it because I saw it as a child. I enjoyed the MTV reboot of Teen Wolf a couple of years ago, but fell off that train. But the story behind the wolf, his name is Walter, by the way, Walter the Wolf, the alliteration's there. But I had a bunny mask when I was doing a tag team faction with Stratosphere, Jody Thread, and Mark Wheeler, where I just found this rabbit mask, and I was like, this would be funny for the entrance. It terrified children. I got hit in the face with a ladder. My head kind of got knocked around, and I kind of went a little more evil and dark. I broke the bunny mask, tried to find a different one, found Walter, and I'm a fan of wolves. I have a wolf tattoo on my arm, and me and Walter, when I put him on, that's my version of war paint. That's me going to war and ready to devour anyone across the ring from me.
So, hypothetically, what you're telling me is that Hulk Hogan has his hulking up where he'll stop and he'll just shake himself about and he's unstoppable. So you're telling me when you get Walter, it's the same thing, that you're in the game, you're unstoppable?
100%, except unlike Hogan that was too confident that he needed to Hulk up later on, I walk out with Walter on my head because at that moment we're one, and we're just in there to destroy whoever is dumb enough to get in the ring.
All right, Scully, what have you got to say to our wonderful, wonderful guest, graciously giving us his interview, Holden Albright?
You sound terrified, like I'm going to murder you, for the record.
You've got a wolf on your head, man.
Now, wrestling fans, Ontario wrestling fans most specifically, will know that I don't want to say most of the time, but a lot of your matches have been sort of around, like, the GTA, Toronto, North York, Brampton, Hamilton, Barrie. Is there any chance, potentially, that you come up our way around the Ottawa area?
Well, I've been keeping tabs on all over Ontario, Quebec wrestling. I've wrestled for C4 a couple times. I see there's something called, like, Sea Valley Wrestling, which I don't understand why it's Sea Valley if, like, or landlocked. So there's a bunch of stuff that I can see going on. I'm like, I have some weekends free. There's 52 weekends in a year, 3 dates a year. People are starting to run on Thursdays now I'm excited about. So anywhere, I have a van that I just want to travel in a ton and get an air mattress for and just live out of.
Very true. Now, just to sort of give you a little bit of, maybe to clarify the Seaway Valley Wrestling, the Seaway Valley Wrestling, located in Cornwall, Ontario, happens to be situated on the St. Lawrence Seaway.
Ah, Seaway, okay.
And then it's also Cornwall, you could say... Excuse, is Cornwall part of the Ottawa Valley, or is the Ottawa Valley on the other side?
It's a blurred line, but it's close enough to be considered. But it is technically the Seaway Valley, and they call it the Seaway Valley because over the sea is the good old U.S. of A.
Good old eye roll.
Yeah. Have you wrestled at all in the U.S. of A, Mr. Albright?
I've wrestled a few times. I've never been, like, advertised to do it. I've done some seminars. I just did an Ultimo Dragon seminar on January 5th in Chicago. And, when I said I have a van to travel, that's what I want to do.
Very true. Now, Holden, we do have to cut things to a little bit of a close here. Thank you for coming on to the show. We might want to have you on in the future, maybe after you've come to Ottawa, if that is...
Bring Walter.
What you plan. Bring Walter.
Walter's always my passenger in the seat. There's 7 seats in here, 2 stow-and-go areas. Walter's always my right-hand man.
Awesome. Thanks for calling in, man. Have a good one.
No problem. At Holden Pro on things, Holden Albright. See you guys soon.
See you, man. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Man, that was a good interview. That was a real good interview.
He's no lone wolf Baron Corbin, because he's got way more confidence and he scares me a lot more.
Yeah. We do have to cut things to a quick commercial break. When we come back, I teased sort of a different kind of wrestling that we're going to be talking about after the commercial break, and we will get into that, of course, after the commercial break. You're listening to Wrestling with Ideas right here on CKDJ 107.9.
Hey you, person listening to the radio right now. You driving? You better have both hands on the wheel, Buster. 80% of collisions happen because somebody couldn't keep their eyes on the road. And it's not just your phone either. Eating, smoking, and drinking your coffee are all distractions too. Just talking on your phone, even hands-free, makes you 4 times as likely to get you in a collision. 3 seconds is all it takes. Is your social life worth it? Hands on the wheel, eyes on the road.
Do you ever wish you were a superhero? Saving lives doesn't mean you need tights and a cape. Open heart surgery requires blood from up to 5 donors. Certain cancer treatments need upwards of 10. Leukemia treatments require 8 donors a week. You can be someone's superhero today. Donate blood. You may think your contribution won't help, but the truth is, every drop counts. Please call 1-888-2-DONATE for more info and to book your appointment today.
Hey guys, this is Flip Gordon, and you're listening to Wrestling with Ideas.
Look in the sky, watch it fly, I'm the man ride. I see you try, but you're running and you can't. I know. Here we go. Time for the man, time for the show, time for the stand.
Welcome back inside the CKDJ studios right here for Wrestling with Ideas on CKDJ 107.9, Ottawa's new music. I'm the music man, Colin Scully. Alongside me, the man with no excuses, Jonathan Skuce.
And alongside me, Let's hold on. Let's see if I can come up with something here. The Chad Gable of Ottawa.
Pretty close. That's actually, yeah.
Yeah, let's stick with that. The Chad Gable of Ottawa. That's a compliment, by the way.
Mr. Ismail Ayyoub, how's it going, man?
Hi. It's going pretty good, guys. How's it going for you?
It's going all right. Now, shifting gears a little bit here on Wrestling with Ideas, we normally talk about the professional side of professional wrestling. You are a wrestler, not exactly on the professional side of things, though. You're not doing top rope flips.
No moonsaults, no chairs, correct?
No. I do real wrestling.
Real? Well, we're getting into this already. All right.
Yes.
So, what's so amateur about amateur wrestling?
What's so amateur about it is just the fact that, you're not really planning things out. You don't really get paid for it as much because it's not as interesting to watch as the WWE wrestling, of course. And so we just you basically it's not staged, correct?
Correct.
So moves are a little less interesting, and so there has less viewers. But it's definitely, the competition is definitely higher.
And the moves, they still hurt, correct?
Oh yes.
There you go.
They hurt a lot.
I would say they hurt a lot more. Now, initially, let's talk a little bit about more of your history, sort of, with amateur wrestling. You are a relatively new. You're not citizen of Canada yet, are you? Are you?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I passed my test, but I should be getting my citizenship in a month.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's exciting. That's exciting. Yeah. Thank you.
So you moved from Jordan how long ago exactly?
I actually moved from Kuwait.
Oh, so you were born in Jordan.
I was born in Kuwait.
You were born in Kuwait.
I'm from Jordan though.
You're from Jordan because you grew up in Jordan.
No, because I grew up in Kuwait.
Okay.
But I'm originally from Jordan because that's my background. That's the citizenship that I hold.
Okay.
And so I moved from Kuwait around in February. It'll be six years ago.
Okay.
So I started wrestling February 2017.
Oh, so
I'm still pretty new to wrestling.
Wow.
And pretty much.
And as we'll talk about this first, what sort of got you in? Like, what was the eye catcher for you when it came to wrestling?
Very good question. So I have a brother named Ismail Ayyoub.
Yeah.
And he wrestled in grade 9 throughout high school as well. But when I was still in middle school, he wrestled. He would come back home with an injury, with an eye, like swollen eye and everything. And he would always come to competitions. He would never win first, though. He would always win second, third, or fourth. And that kind of pissed me off. And I'm like, Ibrahim, let me try it out,
Yeah.
I want to try it out. And, my brother got me into wrestling, pretty much.
Okay.
So I tried it out after then.
So have you gotten any injuries as bad as your brother has? Have you ever come home with a big shiner or anything like that?
Yes. I came, it's not from wrestling though.
Okay.
It wasn't from wrestling itself. I did injure my left rotator cuff.
All right.
From lifting weights, which caused me to pull off from some tournaments. But
So you didn't quite get out wrestled, to say, so you're still on the upside.
Yes,
huh?
I'm still on the upside.
That's what we like to hear.
I'm still healthy.
Still very much on the upside. Now, it was last year that you went not only to the Ontario Provincial Championships and won in your weight class, you also went to the National Championships of Canada.
Yes,
high school wrestling, and won in your weight class. As somebody who hasn't had that much exposure to amateur wrestling before, like, I think the first real matches that I watched, other than the Olympics, were the ones that you talked about. I think was it yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, it was yesterday. You sent me a couple matches. We'll get into that as the show goes, as this last segment goes on. But as somebody not only who moved to Canada 6 years ago, and not only started wrestling more than 2 years ago, what, if you have any advice, I guess you could say, for young upstart wrestlers to get to where you are now in such a short amount of time?
Okay, honestly, man, it takes a lot of freaking commitment. You know, what I do is not fun for anyone else. You really have to be committed to it because, look, man, who likes to be beating up? Like, who likes to be, beaten up every practice, being thrown around? Because, I go to practice, I still get my ass whooped. Although I'm a national champ, I train with people who are even better than me. and I go in there pretty much almost every day at the room. I've been committed ever since I joined it because I have this kind of thing inside me where I don't know, I don't like to fail. So I failed once, and I'm like, no, it's not happening again. So I started taking it seriously. Been training like crazy for wrestling and stuff. But my advice I would give for anyone, man, is if you want to get into wrestling, you gotta have a heart, man, because it's not easy. Plus, you don't really get paid for it as much, and so, yeah, you gotta have heart, man, because no one is paying you to get your ass whooped.
Yeah. Now, we had been talking, John. I'm not sure what your exposure to amateur wrestling is, other than, of course,
the bare minimum.
Other than, of course, Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan, Chad Gable.
And that's my question for Ismail. What do you have to say about the amateur wrestlers, such as Kurt Angle? I don't know if you've heard of other ones. I'll say like Dolph Ziggler, Brock Lesnar was an amateur wrestler for a while. What do you have to say about amateur wrestlers who become, we'll call them in air quotes for your sake, professional wrestlers?
Honestly, man, good for them. They've done a lot of great stuff. Like Kurt Angle, I believe he won the Olympics.
Yes, with a broken neck.
Yes, that's true. And man, like that's good for him, man. Winning the Olympics, doing what you want, and then eventually getting paid for it. Like that's a dream that everyone wants to have. You know, like these guys are great, man. Like a lot of wrestlers that are amateur right now, I can name some Kyle Dake, David Taylor, all these guys. They wish to be in their positions because these guys are pretty much set for life.
Yes.
While doing something they love, which is wrestling.
And then as an amateur wrestler, being able to walk down the street and have people say, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, that is definitely something really good because, you know, if you walk down the street, you feel famous. You know, people like The Rock.
Is that something that you'd like to do?
Heck yeah.
Transition from amateur to pro?
Heck yeah, why not? If I get the chance, of course. For now, I'm a lot more focused on the training and the amateur. I believe that's what, Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, that's all the plan was. Because you can't really win Olympics while... Like
exactly,
you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
So I believe what I don't know them personally, but I believe what was going on in their mind is they're like, okay, I'm gonna take these couple of years, just focus on straight wrestling. After I'm done with that, after I get a little exposure, then WWE is gonna contact me because WWE usually contact wrestlers who are, I believe that. They have a special feature in them that differentiates other wrestlers.
They would have a scout at, let's say, an NCAA tournament or something like that.
Yes, something like that, yeah.
And then they'd call the big guy and says, hey, you want to get your hands on that guy? Which I hope to see you in that position
hopefully,
one day.
Man. Oh, man, I would kill for that. Well, I mean, I wouldn't kill for that because that's kind of illegal. Moving on to sort of... Most of our listeners aren't exactly that well exposed, shall we say, to amateur wrestling. We were talking about what you were going to talk about on the show today, and we decided that you would, if you still want to, talk about sort of like your top 5 amateur wrestlers and kind of give a little bit of a ranking and like a reason why you put them where you put them.
All right. Okay. My ranking may not be the best, but from what I believe, all these 5 wrestlers, I'm pretty much obsessed with them. These are the 5 guys that I watch constantly on YouTube.
Are these the 5 guys that you sent me the names of as well?
Yes. The Kyle Dake, David Taylor, Hassani Yazdani, Abdul Rashid Sajulayev, and what else?
Jordan
Burroughs. Yes, Jordan Burroughs.
Jordan Burroughs. No, I was watching. I believe it was David Taylor versus. Was it David Taylor versus Jordan Burroughs?
What
was the match on the roof in Manhattan?
Oh,
like the slick mat one. The one where they were skating, basically.
Oh, that one. That was Frank Chamizo versus Jordan Burroughs.
That was his name, right?
Yes, Frank Chamizo.
Now, there's a match that I recommend everybody out here go and watch. It is not an accurate representation of what a real amateur wrestling match is like, because that match took place outside on a pier in Manhattan. It was raining earlier.
Yes.
The mat was very wet, but... Jordan Burroughs, he is definitely one of, you were talking earlier about the special guys that have something in them. You can't really explain what it is, but there's kind of a special sort of aura that Jordan Burroughs carries himself with that I've noticed from watching the few matches that I have, that I could honestly see Jordan Burroughs in WWE.
Yes. Jordan Burroughs, man, he is crazy. His explosiveness on the shots. He's known for his double legs. Double legs is not something easy to get at the high level. He makes it look so easy on wrestlers like Kyle Dake, David Taylor, and these guys won Worlds this year. They've won 2018 Worlds Championships. And Jordan Burroughs just takes their legs and dominates. Jordan Burroughs has been dominating pretty much amateur wrestling ever since he's still there, but right now I believe he's kind of looking for retirement. But David Taylor and Kyle Dake, these guys are world champions this year. Every year they wrestle with Jordan Burroughs. They're in the 76 weight class, I believe. Yeah. And Jordan Burroughs destroys them. Like, I'm talking about literally just beating them up, right? And he was pretty much holding two world championships, two world champions in his weight class. And as soon as they got out of that weight class, now they got to expose themselves, which is Kyle Dake and David Taylor. They got to expose themselves as world champions.
Right. Now, Kyle Dake and David Taylor is another pairing that really, not necessarily, I don't want to say spoke to me, but these guys, both Kyle Dake and David Taylor, but wrestled in NCAA. Do you have aspirations to wrestle for NCAA, or do you want to stay in Canada and wrestle in Canadian in the CIA, I think is what it's called?
I would love to wrestle for NCAA once I get my citizenship. Me and my coaches have plans to get out of the country and hopefully get myself more exposed, because I believe wrestling in the States is a lot more it's a lot more common than here in Canada. Plus, it's also stronger.
Yes. There are nothing against our fair Canadians, but there are a little bit more eyes on amateur wrestling in the United States.
Yes.
Now, would you like to talk a little bit about more of the international sort of amateur wrestlers? We mentioned Kyle Dake, we mentioned David Taylor, we mentioned Jordan Burroughs, but a couple of the guys that you mentioned earlier, Hassan Yazdani and then Abdul Rashid Sadulayev. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, yes, Abdul Rashid Sadulayev, yes.
Perfect. For people who haven't seen either of these guys on the mat, describe a little bit about each of their styles, if you will.
All right, I will start off with Hassan Yazdani. This dude is a monster. When I'm talking about monster, I'm talking about literally a complete monster. When he holds guys, he does not let them go. Once he gets the underhook, he's dominating. Like his constant pressures on wrestling. First of all, he's an Iranian wrestler, and Iranians are known for their underhooks and overhooks, kind of the upper body, more of Greco. But the way that dude moves is incredible. Man, he holds wrestlers and he doesn't let them go. Constant pressure up and down, left to right, just completely dominating wrestlers. He's won Olympics against Anwar Gadayev, I believe.
I'm just trying to find that right now, actually. Anwar Gadayev, in the final.
Yeah. He was losing 6-0 in the first round.
Yeah.
And came back with a 6-6 and a win. No, it was incredible, man.
Right. Now, just before we talk about the scoring system of amateur wrestling, because professional wrestling fans,
we only know three numbers. 1, 2, 3, the guy wins. Right?
And then whatever score happens to happen in an Ironman match. Now, the one thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Hassan Yazdani specifically, in 2016, he was in the 74 class.
Yes.
Just at the past World Championships in Budapest, he's at 86 now.
You are right.
How could you train? Like, I mean, of course you see it all the time in the UFC with all the weight cuts that they do.
Yes.
But is it any harder, in your opinion, to put on weight in amateur wrestling?
Look, I'll say something. I believe that they changed the way the weighting system. Before it was weigh-ins the day before. Right. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, now weigh-ins are in the same day, so wrestlers are not making big cuts because they're wrestling the same day. So I believe they're cutting a lot less, because if they don't, they're not gonna wrestle well throughout the tournament. But it's definitely a big jump from 74 to 86.
Yeah. Now, does that impact your training for the how soon would you find out about your next matches?
Sorry, what do you mean?
How soon? He was at 74 in 2016. if he knew he was going to be making the jump to 86 in a couple, like, how fast does the thought process go, I guess is my question.
I see what you're saying. Man, that dude must have done a lot of eating.
Yeah.
That's all I could say, to be honest. A lot of eating, maybe weightlifting. I don't know. I've never done that, like, that much big of a jump. That's just crazy, man.
What are you at right now?
Right now, I walk around 83 kilos. I have a provincial championships at 79 kilos, juniors.
Okay.
It's in next weekend.
Next weekend. Now, where's that?
That's going to be in
Brampton?
Yes,
Brampton?
yes,
Okay.
that's Brampton. Yes.
Maybe our friend Holden might see him down there. Now, the scoring system specifically, I am still a little bit unfamiliar with this.
How do you score a goal in wrestling?
You don't score a goal in wrestling.
No. I want him to. How do you score a goal in wrestling?
You put the ball. You put the ball in the net.
But that's not wrestling. There's no balls and nets in wrestling.
Yeah.
So how do you score? Oh, I should say a point. Sorry.
Okay. How do
I? If you were to wrestle me, how would you score a point off of me?
Well,
take you down.
No. So,
I take you down, pretty much.
And describe to that, because some people know you take me down. What do you do?
Okay. So, first of all, there's 4 points that are awarded. There is a 1 point, 2 points, 4 points, and 5.
Okay.
Now, the 1 point is usually caused by either a push out, like there is a ring, right? It's a circle.
Yes.
If you push them out of the zone, or if they get cautioned.
Yes.
Also, that could happen if you get out of a scramble.
Now, for our professional wrestling fans who might not necessarily know all of the amateur wrestling, what exactly is a scramble?
A scramble is a series of moves that lead up eventually to either a point, like a point on either side, or no points at all. Basically, I get their legs, they try to defend, they sprawl on me. Are they familiar with a sprawl?
Yeah.
Okay, they get a sprawl on me, and so then I try to go to the side, and it's just a constant series of moves that don't stop unless someone scores or the referee calls you up.
Okay.
So if you get out of that and you get on top, basically you get a 1 point. For 2 points, you take them down and you get control of their back. So you have to basically be in control and be behind them.
Okay, so is that
on knees?
Is that with the? Oh, that's on knees. Okay.
Or stomach.
Or stomach. So if their stomach is completely on.
If their stomach is completely on the mats, or their hands or knees touching the mats,
okay,
and they have in control of the back. When I'm talking about control, I'm talking about lock hands or
lock
ankles,
hands around the waist,
okay, stuff like that. Yeah, that's in control. As 2 points, and you get extra 2 points for every time you expose their back 90 degrees with control.
Okay.
On the ground.
Yeah. Obviously. Now 4 points.
4 points is the big one, man. 4 points
I thought 5 points was the big one.
5 points is even bigger.
Okay.
I'll get to that in a sec.
Okay.
4 points is usually a throw. It is a throw,
like
essentially.
Suplex type thing, like a
no,
German?
suplex is 5.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they updated it this year.
So what's a throw then?
A throw, there is an arm throw. There is just pretty much
like a hip toss kind of thing.
A hip toss, head and arm, fireman's, no arm drag. I don't know if there's a. You could go arm drag to a fireman's. You could do that too.
Okay.
It's pretty much when you pick them up any way you want and throw them on the back.
Okay.
Without arching.
Okay.
No arching on the back. Because then that would make it, if they jump over you, that's 5.
Okay.
So the 5 point is when you pretty much pick up their whole body over your head somehow. You could do a suplex. You could do actually you could do a what do you call it? Arm throw.
Okay.
But if you angle it properly, you could do arm throw 5 point. You could do fireman's 5 point. Basically, you pick. I don't know if you know Bon Rodriguez. I'm not sure if you know him, but he won Worlds this year against a Russian. He got a big. He got his legs on arms. Did a fireman's, picked him up, and just kind of backflipped.
So a Samoan drop, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
So. I'm pretty sure you've heard the name John Cena before. You've heard
yes,
of
course, man.
Now, you mentioned fireman's carry. Now, John Cena's finisher, he calls it the attitude adjustment, but it's essentially a fireman carry drop.
Yes,
so
it is.
I'm assuming you've seen it where he has him on his shoulders.
Yes.
Is that a 4 or a 5? That's a 5, I'm assuming.
That would be a 5, yes.
Okay.
Because I believe you're lifting him over yourself, and it's more because he does it. He does it to the side, but a little to the back. Yes. So I believe that would be a 5-pointer.
Okay.
And if John Cena joins amateur wrestling, he will definitely destroy.
You just have to make sure that he's not on any of the roids. Now, when you're on the mat, when you're grappling, when you're wrestling somebody, what's your favorite 5 point to go for? Are you more of like a German suplex, or are you like a suplex?
I've been practicing a lot with my coaches on firemen's to the one what Brian Rodriguez did.
Okay.
So I pick them up and I basically run to the zone and I front roll in the air. I jump and I do a front flip in the air to land them on their back, and I just stand up like it's nothing. I get 5 points. And a lot of the times what happens actually is the other coaches, they challenge that. And at challenge point, if you lose, I get an extra point. So I actually get 6 points.
Oh.
Yes.
He's breaking the system. He's already got this figured out.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we are running out of time here. We've got just about 30 seconds. Thank you guys for listening to another edition of Wrestling with Ideas. Music Man, Colin, Scully, Man with No Excuses, Jonathan Skuce.
Guest.
Wrestling with Ideas, amateur wrestling correspondent, Ismail Ayyoub.